Hatchie giving the world away. Album review. Let's chat about it. Hey guys, what's going on? John here from What's Spinning, here tonight to chat about this latest album from Hatchie. She is an Australia-based singer-songwriter, dream pop songstress. And back in 2018, she put herself on the map with a slew of very dreamy, throwback style, almost 80s sounding pop tunes that culminated in her Sugar and Spice EP. And I know that a lot of people really enjoyed this EP, but I personally loved this EP. It was a very small sample size for sure, but I thought the songs were really well performed. I thought the production was great, and it was just incredibly catchy and sweet on the ears pop music. Who doesn't like that? She had a sound, she had a style, and she was sticking to it, and I was really excited to hear what she would do with it. But after this great EP, I thought that she really missed the boat with her full-length debut, Keepsake. This album, to me, was just the opposite of her EP. Honestly, a lot of it I just found to be drowning in her influences, really underperformed, way too many cliches, and it wasn't nearly as sweet and catchy and just instantaneous as her EP either. So much so, I almost just wrote this album off entirely, but then I started hearing a lot of the singles, and thankfully, they're some of her best. Let's chat about this thing. This album starts off with Lights On. It's a really great opener. I've loved it since it dropped as a single. It kind of sounds like what she was aiming for on her debut album, Keepsake, but a lot more coherent, a lot more thought out, and just really catchy too. It's also just freaking gorgeous. Between that, this big hook, the glistening production, this is great. It's very big sounding, and if you know me, that's where I love my pop. And on top of that, Hatchie just sounds so much more confident, so much more in her element. This Enchanted is really nice too. I love the throwback synths. I love the sort of Twilight beat that we get here. It's so bubbly, it's very fun, it's very carefree. And did I mention, yeah, incredibly catchy. This is a big leap for her. Twin, on the other hand, is a little bit more breezy, a little bit more carefree. It's got a very big 80s indie pop feel to it, and my god, her vocals on this track are some of her best. It's very haunting, but once again, that's where I personally love to hear my dream pop. And yes, you could say that Hatchie takes multiple showers daily directly in her influences. You would be right, but for the moment, I actually think it's working. The rhythm, on the other hand, is very vast. It shows her really, broadening her horizons a little bit, really taking advantage of her sound. And honestly, I love it. The big old synths that pop in for this chorus, just how big everything sounds once again. That alongside a dreamy atmosphere, you know what you're getting. Hatchie, in a lot of ways on this album, really comes into her own, and that makes me happy. Also, Quicksand, it's the best track here. One of the best tracks she's ever put out. It's one of the grittier tunes here. It's got that cinematic vibe once again. I don't know why, but I just feel like this would be perfect for like a really epic movie trailer, or maybe like a sort of expository cutscene in Kingdom Hearts 3. But it's also one of the more telling and personal tracks here, all the while staying super catchy, super dreamy, very, Hatchie. My only real issue is, like I said earlier, Hatchie needs to take a big step back from her influences, and stop relying on a lot of pop cliches, because when they're bad, they're pretty bad. Like, Take My Hand, there are some serious cliches on this track. This one's pretty rough. I mean, I think the dreamy, sort of shoegazy elements to this album and its atmosphere is one of the most, interesting selling points to this album, but here, it comes off very one-dimensional. Even her vocals are uninspired. Things can get very grim very fast. That's even more to say about Don't Leave Me in the Rain. I think it's the worst track here. This is so dime a dozen, and these lyrics, whew, they are so cheesy. And Sunday Song is not much better. Some of these softer, low-energy tracks just get very one-dimensional very fast, and that's something that I'm worried about. I've really enjoyed the sort of 90s feel to a lot of this album, but this just sounds like it would be used on, a real crap reboot of Dawson's Creek. It's so emotionless. It's so low energy. It's really one-dimensional once again. I mean, Hatchie might not knock it out of the park on this album, but this is a serious leap. Thinking of, as far as a deep cut goes, it's one of the best tracks here. I love the intensity of this track, between the pounding drums and the cinematic vibes to it. It's really intense. It's short, and honestly, I wish it went on twice as long. I think there's some seriously great ideas here. Speaking of gritty, this album's title track, Giving the World Away, takes a sharp left turn. The beat here is much more, rough around the edges. It's a little grittier. It's very bleak, and this track has an unexpected drama to it as well. but hot damn do I ever love it. Even her vocals are much more direct on this track. I love that. The key is really cool too. This sort of more bleak side of dream pop that Hatchie touches down on, it's really interesting. Like this track, once again, has a lot of shoegaze elements. You hear it in the production, you hear it in the guitars. I want to hear more of that. I want to hear a whole album of that. This is right up my alley. A lot of this album really is. Until We Run Out of Air as a finale is really great as well. This is one of the more suffocating, more heavy tracks here. Production here is stunning. This atmosphere is crushing at times. And if you are a fan of her vocals, this is going to be one of the best tracks here for you because her performance is great. It almost makes me feel like she's been holding back a little in a weird way, but not too bad. But it excites me for her future. I want to hear more of this. I want to hear her take more risks. Overall, this album is not an absolute knockout for the world of dream pop, but honestly, Hatchie makes a big leap on this album. She's got some really interesting ideas, and I'm very curious to see what she does with them in the future. I want her to take more risks, more experiments, because that's when this album gets really interesting. But for now, I'm feeling a strong 7 on this album, but let me know what you guys think down below. If you liked the video, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. Until next time, have a great day, guys.